Hey guys, Swisher Family Farm here, and today is a big day. Okay, so let me go through. This video is going to be a little long, probably about 30 minutes. I'm taking extra time into this video because this video is something that's, you know, part of me and who I am and what I've done through the years. Is, as you all know, I was a chef 32 years. I owned a couple of restaurants, did very well, and I have a lot of recipes that I'm going to be posting on our YouTube page. On top of the videos that we're doing now of, you know, building our house and clearing the land and, you know, being homesteaders out here and farmers. Now, some people ask, why does it say, you know, Swisher Family Farm? Well, Swisher is part of Amy's family name, and we talked about it, and that would probably be the best name for it. We started as Swisher Homesteaders because when we first got out here, that's what we were. We're homesteaders. Then we finally got our license from the state of Tennessee as farmers, so we put Swisher Family Farm. Being out here, we had no water when we first started. We had no electricity when we first started. We started bare bones in a tent. If you want to watch those, you can go back to the very beginning and see how we started. I was always used to having the kitchen of my dreams and never having to worry and always having all the utensils I need and everything. Since I have come out here on the homestead, I have had to learn how to cook again. And cook for a minimalist person where I don't have all those luxuries of convection ovens and all this stuff, you know. And it was a real test of 3 years I've been doing this. But I finally got it mapped down. I finally get it perfect. And, you know, I told Amy, I says, you know, we had a few videos early, and I wanted to try those out. We really didn't get a lot of hits from them. We got some. But this recipe that I'm releasing today means a lot to me. It was not the best item, or I won't say the best item. It wasn't the only best item on our menu at the one point. We have many good items on ours. A lot of people have been waiting for this video. I know that the company that had just bought my business is just waiting to get a hold of this recipe, because that'll put them back on the map. Why am I releasing it? You know, I had a lot of contemplating about releasing it and not releasing it, and then giving it to family, letting family do. I've also thought about having it, you know, made for us and distributed to other restaurants, because 90% of the beer cheese soup that's out there, or beer cheese sauce is what we'll say, is junk. It's either gritty, it has no flavor, the flavor is bitter. I mean, I've tried so many different styles of beer cheese soup at so many restaurants and breweries that it's terrible. It was absolutely terrible. And, you know, it's because a lot of these companies, when you go and order beer cheese, are buying them in cryovac bags or a powder. So you're not even getting the real thing. Today's recipe, you're getting the real thing. I mean, this is something that, you know, I could go 5 gallons plus making this stuff a week and sell out. And if I didn't have time to make more, then I was out. You know, and it's just funny because I think about it now and I go, man, you know, this is a recipe that I've held back 5 years now. I've been out of the restaurant business. And I've held it back and haven't given it to anybody. And, you know, I haven't given it to my kids, don't have it. Nobody has it but me. It's all up here. And I thought, you know, what would be a great thing to do would be, you know, life's short. And I want people all across the world to enjoy this recipe. And I thought this would be the perfect time to release it, because we do have Oktoberfest, if you guys haven't seen. We got 2 prior videos. We've got the potato salad video, which is rustic German potato salad, which is, you know, one that I like. I would suggest to make it, let it cool a day, and then heat it up the next day, and it is phenomenal that way. It's a little little tangy if you eat it just when you make it. I like to use apple cider vinegar, but you can use regular white distilled vinegar is fine. It won't hurt nothing. It won't, you know, the flavor will be, profile will be a little different, but that's fine because some people don't like apple cider vinegar. I'm good with it. And we made schnitzel. If you haven't seen it, there's a video there, schnitzel for Oktoberfest. And then I thought about, for my German heritage, that beer cheese soup would be phenomenal to have, you know. And I'd like to see people make it more often. And, you know, if one of these corporate companies gets a hold of this recipe, then whatever, you know. I know in my heart, I'm the one who came up with it. I'm the one who designed it. I'm the one who worked on it. I'm the one who made it. So, you know, I know somebody out there right now is waiting for that recipe, and you guys are going to get it finally. I'm going to release it. I'm going to release the true 100% recipe. It's weighed on me a lot. I've been sitting here thinking it. We've been planning on doing this. It's Sunday, so you know. We've been planning on doing this for a week now, and it's been on my mind for a week. Should I do this? Should I keep it to myself? Should I let it go? Should I? But you know what? If I'm dead and gone, this recipe's not going to do anybody any good, and I'd like people to enjoy it. So I'm going to release it today. Now, I do ask that you do not change the recipe at all. The way the recipe is, it is perfect. It is the best beer cheese you'll ever have. But you have to keep the recipe the same. You have to make it like I make it. You cannot alter it in any way. If you alter it, you will destroy the whole point of having beer cheese. You know, we used to have a couple things. We used to sell it in a cup and a bowl, and people just loved it, man. And then we had one that we called a brewmaster. And I'll tell you what, man, I sold so many brewmasters, and you know, there's somebody out there right now that's probably watching this video. I'd like to say hi to him. Hi, Mike. How you doing, buddy? I know you've been waiting for it, man. You're going to get it today. I promise you, you will not be let down. Just make it the way that I designed it to be made. You know, being a chef for 32 years has done a lot for me in the restaurant business, as far as learning how to run a business, as far as management, how to deal with people. And, you know, I've had my goods, my ups, my downs, you know. Restaurant business, if anybody asks me right now, would you go back into the restaurant business right now? Would I go back into the restaurant business? There is a possibility. Do I suggest anybody else to do it? No way in hell. Let me tell you, it is not for the faint. You have to be strong. You have to be willing to put the time in. If you're not willing to put 80, 90 hours in a week, then you don't need to be in this business. And if you have a wife and kids, you might as well kiss them goodbye, because you'll be working all the time. Well, I hate to say that, but it's true. It's, you know, I loved what I did. That was what I was good at. You know, everybody has something they're good at. There's people who are good at building. There's people who are good at being mechanics. There's people good at, you know, doing office work. I was good being a chef. And I was, unfortunately, you know, I never really tooted my horn. I was damn good. And I had people ask me all the time about what I did different to my food. Like, they'd see me in a grocery store or something on a Sunday when I wasn't working, and I had a guy come up to me and talk to me and says, "What do you do to your food that makes it so good?" And I says, "I'm not cheap. I refuse to serve my customers trash. I will only serve them what I would eat myself, which is only the best." And that's what I stuck to. And let me tell you, there was times in the business where I would buy stuff and I would probably lose money. But I made sure that the product they got every time was the same, regardless of price. I wasn't going to up my price on my burgers and all the other stuff I made. I wanted to keep my price at a certain price point to help people out. Now, yeah, oh, how could you take a loss? Well, I took a loss on the profit, a small loss. I won't say I took a large loss, but I took a small loss sometimes. You know, sometimes the beef market would go through the roof and I'd be paying $4 a pound for beef that I was getting, you know. I never skimped on beef. I mean, I had so many people out asking me about well, let's put it this way. I had so many purveyors come in and ask me about product. Oh, try our beef, it's better than theirs, blah blah blah, and this and that. No. So what I did is I told the purveyors, I said, fine, you want to bring me some beef to test, and I'll test it, and if it's good, then maybe I'll use it. If it's not, I'm not. So I got beef from all the major purveyors. I'm not going to say their names because I don't want backlash from this, but all the major purveyors, okay? And I'm going to tell you something right now. If you ever want to find out what you're getting for your money when it comes to a ground beef, ground sirloin, ground chuck, whatever that's ground, you want to take 1 tablespoon of it and put it in your hand, and you want to turn your faucet on hot water, and you want to take that and you want to hold that underneath that hot water and let the water run down and through and come out the bottom, right? But leave it real, there's like next to no room. Alright, and let it sit there for about 2 minutes. Then you shut the water off, turn your hand over and open it up. When you open up your hand, you should see beef particles in your hand. If you open up your hand and there's nothing there, they just sold you a bunch of fat. Don't get me wrong, fat's not bad. But if I was you, I'd stay in the margin of probably an 80-20. I wouldn't go any more or any less. I'd stay in an 80-20. I would use a chuck. I'll tell you right now, for a burger, I'd use a chuck. Just a chuck roast. You don't need to add steak, and you don't need to add brisket and all this other crap to it. Just stay with a chuck. Don't buy the chuck that they sell you in the grocery stores in a tube. Okay? That is not all chuck. That's probably a mix of 50-50 or 60-40 of beef versus fat ratio. That is not it. What you want to do is go to your local grocery store. I can't say any names, but there are a couple of them that still have butcher shops. Have them cut you a piece of chuck with no bone and have them grind it. Now make sure there's a decent piece of fat in there. Have them grind it up for you. Alright, you want a 2 times grind, not 3, you want a 2 times grind. Alright, and they'll run it through that grinder 2 times. Then have them take a little bit of regular ground beef and put that in on the backside so it pushes the rest of that chuck through. There, you'll have probably one of the best burgers you ever had. So there's a snidbit of a tip to you guys on what to look for and what to get and what you're going to spend your money on. Well, guys, you know, I miss the restaurant business a lot. You know, I miss the people, I miss the reactions, I miss the looks on people's faces. I'm going to see if I can't put some of the pictures from the old place on here, and maybe she can do that, maybe she can't, or maybe we'll just do another video about that. And I'll talk to you about the restaurant business more, and you know, how I came about and what I thought about it. But right now I really want to get started on making the beer cheese recipe for you guys, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Please put it down in notifications on the bottom about whether you liked it or not. You know, I've never really had any complaints, but I'm sure I'm on YouTube, I'm going to get somebody who's going to complain. It's just a given. So at that point, guys, I hope you enjoy. Let's get making some of the world's best beer cheese on our channel, Swisher Family Farm. God bless, and we'll see you at the very end. Alright guys, so we're going to start the beer cheese now. We have 1 stick of butter. We're going to use that. It is sweet cream butter, not salted. You don't need salted butter for this. Then we're going to let that butter melt. Alright. Get around here and get the melt all nice and Now you don't want to, you just want to melt the butter lightly. You don't want to cook it. You don't want to brown it. It's absolutely one stick of butter. Now this recipe, if you need to make more, you can double it, triple it, quadruple it, whatever. But it's the same. Do not change the recipe. This is the world's best beer cheese soup. Alright, so we about got all the butter melted. And as you know, it's not cooking the butter. It's just melting it. And yes, I am doing this on our new grill for our cooking shows. So you can see this. Alright, so the butter is about done. Okay. Now I'm going to add our processed cheese. I know what some of you are thinking. Trust me on this. I used to buy this stuff by the case. Now you don't want to cook the cheese. So what I do is I use the butter real quick and I break it up. So I get it all broken up. Do not let it cook. If you let it cook, it'll be done. You'll have chunks and everything in it. Now we're going to add our ice cold milk. You got to do this quick. So we're adding 2 cups of ice cold milk. That's just enough so we can get it to warm up with the butter and get the cheese to melt. Alright. Okay. So normally I use a spatula to clean the sides, but I prefer to use a whisk. Because you can break it up with a whisk, the cheese. And you hear that? It's getting to the bottom of the pan. So nothing to stick. Don't walk away from it. Stay by it the whole time. Okay, while you're whisking it, you're letting it heat up to melt. Now you're going to add your Better Than Bouillon. I use this all the time. It's my go-to. I used it at the restaurant also. Now we're going to have 1 tablespoon of Better Than Bouillon. Okay. What the hell? That's our dog barking. Alright, so we're going to keep stirring it. You don't want it to brown. You don't want it to brown. You don't want it to stick to the bottom of the pot. You just want to keep stirring it. It's hot enough now where it'll melt on its own. This is very important because a lot of times what'll happen is you'll get the grittiness from it because it burned on the bottom, because nobody would stand over it and pay attention to it. You got to give food love. And trust me, I look like I love food. So I'm going to go down and see how it's all incorporated now, how it's all been gone. Alright. See how the cheese sauce is? We're getting close, guys. It's amazing what you can do with this cheese sauce. I laugh because it's so simple and so perfect that you can't go wrong. Alright. Alright guys, so you're going to want to take a heaping tablespoon of sour cream, like that, in there. Just one, that's it. You're going to want to take a tablespoon of Grey Poupon, heaping, like that. And they're just like that. Now we're going to stir it in really good. Alright. Now we're going to add 12 ounces of cheddar cheese. Yes, it has to be 12 ounces. And we're going to melt that. If you think your cheese is getting too hot, pull it off. Don't leave it on there. Now remember, I'm not doing this on a stove like I have at the restaurant. I'm doing this outside on our grill. Alright. So now comes the key factor to the whole beer cheese soup. Alright, I'm going to pull this off real quick. Alright guys. Make sure you use this Guinness Stout. Don't use the other one, double stout. Use the single. All right, make sure to turn the bottle upside down. Okay, when you turn the bottle upside down, move it in a circular motion. That's so if there's any sediment left up here, it's going to come down into the bottle. All right. Now we're going to crack the lid. We're going to pour it into beer cheese. See if it don't go all over the place. Yep. Now we're going to dump that in there. One whole bottle of Guinness Stout. Alright. We got that in there. That's done. Oh, I haven't smelled Guinness in so long. Alright. Now we're going to mix it. Now it's going to act a little funny when you're mixing it. You're going to be like, oh no, don't. Settle down, relax. Don't worry. It'll incorporate itself. Okay. Alright, you guys weren't able to see it, but we put the Pecco Romano in here already. I apologize. You are going to want to go to a store and buy an imported Pecco Romano in a block. You normally find it in the cheese section where they have all the specialty cheeses, and it will have a red and green label, and it'll say Pecco Romano. They cut it in triangles, grade that super fine, and only use that. Don't use the other stuff that you saw in the video. I wanted to test it to see if it would work. It didn't work. It was junk like I thought it would be. Because some of this stuff that they use a wood pulp for it, so it doesn't stick together, and when you try to melt it just becomes a clumpy mess. This won't become a clumpy mess. This one will become perfect. All right, yeah, whatever you do, don't leave this here. If you look, I've dropped it in there like 3 times now. Had to pull it out, paper towels, you know, the whole 9 yards. Now I'm going to take a taste of it. It's got to cook a little longer. Now we're going to let it cook. And I want to see how long it's going to take before it starts to set. Now what I mean is set is incorporates itself. Let's just put it that way. You always want to stir it all the time. Now, depending on what, happens, you might have to add a little more cheese to it, a little more cheddar. You might have to add a little bit more beer, but it's on point right now. Remember, I'm used to making this in 5-gallon batches, so it took me a long time to get the the recipe down to this point. Yes, it is a lot, but look, you will be very happy with this beer cheese soup. Probably the best beer, probably, this is the best beer cheese. I'm gonna toot my horn. I don't do that often, but I'm gonna toot my horn on this. And always remember, keep stirring it. Don't ever let it. Don't let it stick, don't let it cook. What we do, don't let the cheese cook. That's the big thing. Now I'm gonna test it, make sure. Nope, it's not there yet. No. But it's getting there. Oh. Now I'm going to do a test on it. And I want to see how thick the beer cheese is. And this is the test of tests right here. So what I'm going to do is I stick my spatula down and I pull it up. And it's perfect. It is perfect. So I don't have to worry about that now. Just keep stirring. Okay, so let's say you have a problem. Let's say you got distracted and you got some stuff on the bottom. Whatever you do, don't scrape the bottom. What I want you to do is immediately take the beer cheese off of the heat. Get yourself a super fine strainer and take it and strain it into a bowl. That'll take all those little bits out of there, at least, you know, so when your company comes over, you're not dreading having to make a whole nother pot. It's a safety sake. Have I ever had to do it? Yeah, I have. I've had mistakes like that. Now I'm going to go through and I'm going to try it again. Hopefully I won't knock the whisk in there. Alright guys, so there you go. There's the beer cheese recipe. You know, on that one thing you're going to see, there was a, I think it was Fresco something. I bought it to try it out to see if that would work, and that won't work. You have to stick with the traditional Pecco Romano. If not, it will not turn out right. It will actually ruin it. You know, giving you guys this recipe is a big step for me, because it's something that I've held back for about 5 years, and I think the only way to do it, to be right, would be to give it to everybody and let everybody try it. Amy tried it and says it just brought back a ton of memories. So I really hope you guys enjoy it. It is something that I will stand by 100%. The taste, the flavor, everything is on point. It's what it should be with a beer cheese. And if you want to, and you're going to use this and you want to thicken it, what I would suggest is to lessen the amount of milk. So if you want it thicker, it's set up for a soup base now. But if you want to get it thicker, I would take probably a half a cup away of milk from the 2 cups that you put in. If it's too beery for you, the flavor's too strong of the stout, just cut back on some of the beer. That's all. It'll still turn out creamy, delicate, velvety the way it's supposed to, not gritty and nasty like most of the restaurants you buy Cryovacs. My stuff is on point. But you know, that's what being a chef's about. Every chef has their key elements of what they have, and as you can see, the sun's starting to go down here. But I wanted to finish up this video and just talk to you about some of the stuff of with cooking, that is, you know. Low and slow is best. I've always said that in my restaurant. I've always told my employees that. Putting it on high heat is probably the worst thing you can do. Medium to low, that's all you need. The pan's going to get hot. It's going to collect the heat. You're going to cook what you got. Another thing is don't be afraid to experiment. Experiment. When you're cooking food, experiment. You never know, because some of the weirdest things go together. Amy can tell you that. You know, take pride when you cook. You know, don't cook just I'm going to cook because I want to cook. Cook because you take pride in it. Cook because you love to cook. And if you don't love to cook, still have that pride in it, because it's what you're putting inside of you. Now, granted, the processed Velveeta cheese I put in it is not the best for you, but I'll tell you what, it takes it over the boundaries, and it makes it worth every time having it. I told Amy, I was sitting there, I had a bowl already, I was sitting there, I was like, yeah, I think I'll be making this again. Yeah, I made so much, and that's a pretty big helping, so make sure that you feed probably a family of 6 with that. 4 with some leftovers. But you know, the passion for food is, being a chef is an art that a lot of people don't have being a chef. You know, you got to be one with food. You got to be engulfed in the food culture. You got to be, I mean, it's so amazing, you know. Painters paint on paper, you know, or sculpt things. A chef gets to do all of it. We get to sculpt, we get to paint, we've got the best when it comes to art. Because we can do stuff that painters can't do. So, you can tell I am a real lover of being a chef and I'm food. You might be able to see my cat's back there. She's a little jealous that I'm out here. She'll get over it. Alright guys, look. I am so thankful that you are watching this video. God bless. Hey, by the way, please tell your friends and stuff about us. Tell them about the cooking show. I've got a lot of one-off recipes coming up. And I got some recipes that I've taken that are improved tremendously. I can think of a few right now that are pretty taken care of. You know, just remember, food is love, love is food. And you remember everything you put in your body. So, and that beer cheese, boy, it was worth putting in my body, even though it had some processed cheese. But look, don't cut into corners, don't change the recipe, keep it the way you want. If you need to lessen the stuff, like I told you, if you make it the first time it's too much, just add a little less next time and you'll be good. The cheese factor is on point, the milk factor is pretty much on point unless you want it thicker. I would not add extra cheddar to it to make it thicker. That wouldn't be a good thing, because you're going to alter the profile, the sharpness of that cheese and the beer cheese, and you don't want it. So at that point, guys, I'm out of here. I'm gone. My cat's having a fit. God bless you. Swisher Homestead loves you. We really appreciate your time. And hey, we got a lot more projects going on in the homestead. Still got to finish Amy's greenhouse. We got to build. We got a lot. Now, if you're interested, go to some of the videos before and watch them through, and you can see how far we've came in 3 years we've been out here with nothing, and we finally got power, which is a standby. So at that point, guys, love you. God bless. Until next time, another cooking video on the way. See ya.